Yeah. Yeah,
Bigger
there's
one.
one.
And then I parked at the street. Then saw it was like.
Oh, do you know what the initiation is for the next? Yeah, March.
I didn't get a packet.
Because in my letter, it said
I need to get my butt
February.
in here.
It said in the
It's either
letter.
March 2nd, I think it's March 2nd.
Okay. Because I want to, but I could come next, I just could send them a check anytime, right?
But, yeah, but Roger is in Florida right now, so. he'll
Oh,
be
so
back.
I don't,
Yeah, just wait till he's back.
okay.
He can just pay that night.
Oh, like to mean March the 2nd? Gotcha.
Good evening. We'll bring the meeting to order. Welcome to the second regular session of, well, the second, it's a regular session, postponed, the session of Kenton City Council, and we'll begin with the roll call.
Joel Althauser,
Present.
Sue Fox Brofer,
Present.
Lydia Miller,
Present?
Cliff Winiger,
Present.
Chad Miller,
Present.
Kate Wren,
Present.
Doris Bloom,
Present.
Rob Jones.
Here.
John Schwimmer, Lynn Webb. Here. Cindy Murray. Here.
Thank you, Emma. I'd ask all who are able to please stand for the prayer and pledge of allegiance. Mayor, if you'll lead us in prayer.
Father God, we just thank you for this day. That you grant us your provision, you grant us a lot of goodness. And it's for today. May we stay focused in all that you're providing for us. We thank you that through our cold day that we have triumphed and been well and to keep our city open and running. Thanks for the blessings of the dollars you've given us. Thank you for each and every community member. May you continue to hold each of them in good health and safety. May we continue to make good choices to honor you and our community members so that we may continue to thrive and shine the light of this wonderful city that we may glorify you. In Jesus' name.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everyone, at a different time, and thanks especially council members for making this work. So let's get right at it. The prior minutes, were there any additions or corrections to those lengthy minutes that anybody saw? Okay, I don't hear anything, so we're going to mark those down to be approved as submitted. We don't have anyone on the agenda tonight to speak. Will be a chance to speak later if as needed. So we'll go on to communications. First, the organizational chart was in your packet. Anybody have any questions on that? I think it does come in handy, especially if you have someone ask you a question. It might be kind of handy to, should have been right after your minutes, to know that. Kind of a little bit related to that, I would just comment, as all of the committees meet, and Emma probably already has some of these, but as you designate a chair, and I would ask, please do designate a chair. It's up to the three of you in every committee, but I would ask you do, if for no other reason, for example, if Tim wants to reach out to a committee, he knows who the chair is, because ultimately, I want to get that marked on that chart, because I will update that chart and make certain that media has that, everybody up here has it, and all you have that. So instead of trying to just reach out and talk to every committee member or guest, it's good to know who maybe the primary contact would be. So just let Emma and I know as those chairs get elected. Anything else as far as communications? Okay, no petitions at this time. So, and by petitions, most of the time, what that involves for especially newer council members will be where someone wants to close an alley, vacate an alley, where someone has dropped off a petition to have a particular type of traffic sign or street light or something like that. I mean, it could be a petition for about anything. And we would normally go over those at this time. Administrative reports, police chief, I don't see Chief Musser, I don't see Chief Donley. Cindy, Lynn, jump in if there's anything you guys wanted to report. Theron was gonna be here and we didn't think to communicate with him the
Well,
time.
he's stuck on a water leak.
Yeah, so I think Theron will try to be here at the next meeting. Would say, I'm certain a lot of us will say it in the closing comments, but thanks to the Public Works folks. A lot of hours, a lot of cold hours. Economic development, anything you want to chat about there, Lynn?
I think it's in your packet, her report.
Oh, yes, I did, gosh, I need to read my own writing. There is a report from the Chamber and Business Alliance for Economic Development.
Any questions? I think I could answer most of them. Also, the Economic Development and the Chamber has a breakfast at the Elks. What is it, the third Friday?
Third Friday of every month.
Of every month.
Well, they alternate.
Yeah. So Holly wants to, who is the Economic Development Director and President of the Chamber, or Business Alliance, this year she wants to do part economic development speaker and part for the schools and all that. So we're members, and it would be, it's a wealth of information. Sue serves a great breakfast, but it's a wealth of information. They have people from all over to talk about economic development, and then how the schools, so if you have that time, all you have to do is jump on their website or call me and I can get you registered to go. But it's a great, they put on something that's with their speakers that is very informative for all of us. So I'd encourage, if you have that time, it's 9 o'clock, 9:30, 8:30.
8:30.
It usually runs about an hour and a half.
Hour and a half to finish up, half hour eating, and then they actually eat and do the meeting at the same time.
Yeah, and then you'll go around and kind of, people who are there can give updates. Commissioners give updates, superintendents give updates, business leaders give updates. Also, the first Tuesday of every month is community coffee at the Chamber in the back room. I think that's at 8 o'clock. Of another great piece of, where it's usually full in there. And they have a specified speaker every month, but it's another good thing. If you have the time, I'd go.
Okay. Income tax, we did add a report for income tax through year-end '25. I
Do you
guess.
want Lynn to, she's going to explain.
Yeah, I was gonna
some.
Lynn's here. Anything you wanna comment on that?
We've got to go.
Could we have you up at the podium so we can,
Thank
or
you.
we give you a microphone?
Okay, so I went back through the accounts for 2025 and checked the declarations that were paid. 3 large declarations that weren't paid totaled $329,000. I did contact the businesses. The one was $292,000. They said they did not pay any estimates in 2025 because they were going to suffer a big loss. And they wouldn't know the city of Kenton anything, and they have a credit on their account of $71,700. So I'm hoping that that doesn't transpire, but I have no guarantee. I had another one that didn't pay $34,000 in the third quarter. When I contacted them about that, they said, oh, we forgot to pay the third quarter. We'll just make up the difference when we file our taxes. And the third one was $3,750, which seems like a small amount, but when it comes to this, it's a big ordeal. I contacted them. He sold the business to his son. His son said he wasn't going to have near the income this year, so he didn't pay any estimates. That's where I'm finding everybody at. They aren't going to have the income, their expenses, and their losses are greater than what they're making. So that makes up for the difference of I think it's about $200,000 or $180,000, the difference with what we forecasted and what we actually took in. You know, I can research this further if I need to, but next year we won't be counting on the declarations as part of our goal. You know, we're going to make sure that things are guaranteed and not just taken for granted.
Any
So
questions?
I have a real quick question. I know it's finance. I'm on the finance, I believe. Doris and Robin are as well. We're planning on a finance on
February 28th.
the February 28th.
Third.
Could you like have that?
February 23rd.
23rd? Could you have that for us then, so that we could, I mean, we're all relatively new to it, so we're looking to learn if we can. So
Yeah,
could you
I've
have-
got-
Could
yeah.
you dig into that and kind of bring that to us so that we
Yeah.
have a better understanding as a committee as,
I have it printed out on 3 separate sheets, and I can make copies of those sheets and the dollar amounts highlighted, so you know exactly what we were missing.
okay.
Yes, I can absolutely do that. And if I see anything else out of the ordinary, I'll make a copy of that as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Did you have a question, Robin?
Well, I guess they don't have to make restitution at some point, or
It was an
they just,
estimate.
It was an estimate.
Declaration.
okay.
Now, a declaration is like a payment in advance. It's
Okay.
just saying that we're expecting this amount of income for 2025, and we're going to make it in 4 separate payments. So it'll be paid before we file our taxes. It's
Okay.
like a payment in advance. And they aren't required to
But they're
do
not
it.
held account to that estimate then, correct?
They're held account to whatever their taxes show it when they complete it.
So they have to pay it at tax time?
Yes, if they don't
If they
make the
earned it.
estimates.
If they earned it.
If they earn it. They're saying they're not going to earn it, that's why they didn't do the prepayments.
Gotcha.
And they don't have to pay it till tax time, actually, unless, you know,
Okay.
that's their option.
So you won't have, so you won't have a more in-depth picture by like the end of the month or our finance meeting, is that what you're saying? I mean, basically if it goes into tax,
Yeah,
it
basically.
could be April.
Yeah, it could be April, you know, and again, if they can't show that loss, and then they have to come up with the money at tax time, but it would go into 2026
Right.
instead of 2025.
Right, okay. I don't have any more questions.
Okay.
So, thank you,
All
Lynn.
right.
You're
Thanks,
welcome.
Lynn. Anything from Brad, from the auditor, or Christie?
I don't think there's anything to report to. No, no report.
Okay. Anything on behalf of the treasurer? Okay. John's not here, so we'll skip all director. Cindy?
I think the mayor's going to cover it.
Okay.
I'm just going to talk about our week. and snow, our wonderful snow, and Public Works, and where we are, where we were, and where we're hoping to be. So, we did declare an snow emergency. In the ordinance, it has to be at least 4 inches to declare that. We definitely surpassed that. We're now running, the garage, Public Works is running around the clock, so we've broken up into 2 12-hour shifts. Unfortunately, today, they had to tackle a water leak, so they've been on that. It was a broken valve, so they've been working on that most of the day. And at nighttime, so they're going 7A to 7P, that's the shift. At nighttime, once traffic slows down, they're going to be taking the snow removal off the square. So that's the outer ring. The county is in charge of the snow removal around the courthouse, and they start tonight, or this in the morning, at 4:30 in the morning, they're coming and start doing their sides, okay? In the meantime, like if we come in at 7 tonight, with traffic, we'll probably be doing some cleanup, running we're now in the alleys, so that's the good thing, in the alleys. Also, parking, we now moved to odd side for tomorrow. We did a pretty good job on moving to the even side. So again, we have to reiterate, even though it's a no parking sign, in a snow emergency, this overrides it. So when we odd and even, everybody moves to one side. This morning we had 4 tows and 12 that were contacted, moved them. So those 12, the police had to contact them through door, phone call, whatever. They came out moving them, and 4 cars got towed. But as you drive up and down the mains from Franklin, and we worked up mostly in the 2nd Ward, Carroll Street, North Street, or High Street, we worked on those, getting them wide. So when we say open, when our street is open, that's basically saying a plow went through it, okay? 1 swipe or 2. When we say a road or a street is complete, that means curb to curb. We got it pushed back curb to curb, okay? So that's kind of what that understanding is. And now we should be able to be getting in the alleys. We've got some alleys, people are calling in. I had Burl was running skid loader today. He ran plow yesterday. He ran plow today because I had water on the water main break. But hopefully we don't run in that to tomorrow, and all day tomorrow we should be working alleys and anything else that needs pushed back to go curb to curb. But from drive around, we look like we're pretty darn good. So we're hoping to get businesses' sides open this week, best we can, and all this snow out of here. I think we're doing a great job considering the amount of snow that we have, and you'll see another big difference when we wake up tomorrow downtown. So other than that, again, if you have anything, let us know. If someone calls you guys and says, hey, we need something here, we need an alley opened, or the alley got closed off because of plowing, let us know, and Emma runs central command from here and shoots it out to everybody. Sue called us today, and we put it out there, and we get everybody on the list, and they knocked it out. So again, as soon as we get that first day crew, that's when we'll be working alleys. It's a lot easier to do it in the daytime than at night on the alleys part. And then downtown will be handled. Hopefully by Friday we have a good chunk of it done and into next week. So
Thank you. By the way,
the guys are just, I was
trying to do it by hand, and that was just
crazy. But I can tell you the first night of the storm, we had some guys very committed. And we had to make them go home. But, they were working 16 hours plus 18. And it just it came down so fast. And again, our main priority is getting the mains open. I understand people need to get to work or get to places, doctor's appointments, but I have, when it was coming down, I had 4 guys. And it's really hard to keep up with it. So they did a great job. I can't, you're gonna find a town has this kind of commitment. We have it. So shout out to those guys, fire department, police department. They were just on point. Yours, Joel.
I'll just follow up. Shout out to Temple Enterprises for throwing a few good words out there saying, well, everybody chill out. We saw them out at 3 a.m., so hush up. The other thing, when there's not a lot of traffic and it's in the middle of the night, it makes sense to take 3 trucks side by side by side. You wipe out the whole street at one time. Every town does that. Every city does that. Every interstate, state and feds do that. It makes all the sense in the world, so.
We
That's,
also have salt. I don't know if you've read, a lot of private is having salt trouble, getting enough salt. We have enough salt, but it might be coming into 2026. We put in for 200 ton and we're only getting 100 ton right now, so that's why we're salting mains, basically. We're not getting into residential. We'll try to hit intersections in schools and hospital. Everybody just has to slow down and try to do their best, but.
Well, and to add on to that, we don't salt residential streets. So.
even say it bigger, no town salts.
Right.
No city salt residential streets. They hit the intersections, the hills, the bad spots, but, yeah.
It doesn't do much good when the temperature's this low.
That's the other
true.
thing, you're right.
Yes.
It just started working today finally, really.
Yeah, once it
Yeah,
melts,
late
it just turns
yesterday.
to
Yeah.
ice.
The sun helps.
Yeah, and then it snowed again yesterday afternoon late. All right, well, again, thank you, Lynn, for that update and everything they do. And of course, lots of businesses are able to close. City building's got to be open because everybody's working, so. All right, let's move on then. Reports of committees. Obviously, well, I shouldn't say that. Finance, I doubt you have a report,
Well,
other
we haven't
than
met.
We'll meet the 23rd of February.
you're meeting the
6 o'clock.
23rd. And so you guys haven't met yet, so you don't have a
We
chairperson.
haven't got a chair yet. no.
Good deal, okay. What time on the 23rd?
6.
6.
Prior to council, right?
Yeah.
That's what I wrote
23rd.
down.
Prior to council, 6 p.m.
Yep. Okay, MOP. MOP has not met, probably don't have anything planned until, a lot of times MOP meets when Cindy says, hey, we gotta meet. So, okay. Public utilities.
We meet again on February 11th. So we had an organizational meeting, so we're all good to go from that.
Who's the chair? Did you elect?
I am.
Okay.
And we will report that the tenant accounts have been finalized out, and everything should be in the landlord's name with the bill that will go out next.
You know, I'll just ask the question now. If there already is an automatic ACH payment, will that just continue?
I'll have to find out on that, but I know she finalized out accounts, so I would assume that it won't pull anything else out, so I'll have to find out.
So okay. The question would be, can that be reinstated? Can the landlord work with the tenant and have that reinstated? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
There'll be a new account number anyway, so it would have to be.
right, right. Anything else involves that committee? All right, then how about streets, alleys, and sidewalks?
We did meet tonight.
All right. You guys have a chair? Anything to report or any scheduled next meeting?
We haven't scheduled the next meeting. We'll have notes on what we did at the next meeting.
Yep,
for everybody
okay.
to have.
What about legislation, codes, regulations? Liz?
So legislation had a condensed meeting prior to the meeting out for the night. Being condensed, we've decided to meet again on February 9th to go over some ordinances that we look to have legislation brought before council, basically regarding the M1, M2 updates. Legislation is myself, Cliff, and Doris, and I will be chairing legislation. But we will meet again on the 9th of February at 6 p.m. to continue the discussion. We kind of had a condensed one tonight, so.
Okay. So, again, we'll appoint special committees as needed, and I'll even go ahead and share. Lynn and I, and we'll probably, Cindy, going to talk a little bit more, but looking at maybe another committee that involves economic development with some of the things going on might be a possibility. So don't want to committee everybody to death, but that's one that we might need something. Individual appointments. So regional planning is Doris.
I contacted Mark Dahl, and he said the next meeting will be in April. It's basically a reorg, and he would let me know.
Okay.
Cindy gave me the year schedule today, which is helpful.
Yeah, I had left him a message, so I'm glad that all good. Parks and Rec Board, is Robin
I
still?
believe we can reconvene in March is what they decided. So I saw from the school board appointees, it'll be Tasha Heidinger and Mike Steyer will represent the school. Tasha stayed on, and when Doug Carmine didn't run, he fell off, so Mike Steyer will take his place. So I imagine that we usually meet the Wednesday after the first council meeting
Right.
in March.
Okay. Grove Cemetery Board, Sue?
We've had 2 meetings so far. We had our January meeting, we had that on a Wednesday instead of a Tuesday, and then we just had a meeting last night. It's the February meeting, but Roger's going to be gone. So the first one, there was issue with the St. Mary's Cemetery, which is really not part of the cemetery, but we've been taking care of it. So there was an agreement this last meeting between the Catholic Church and Grove Cemetery for 5 years. Agreed on a contract for 5 years.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, there's actually a cemetery kind of within a cemetery out
Yeah.
there. So, all right, thanks, Sue. Tree Commission hasn't met, but you're going to make certain she knows when they're meeting and all that. Can you?
Yeah,
All right.
and they do have a meeting, and their next meeting is at the Elks in the Wolfront Room, and I'll get with her on that day.
Okay. BKP, we did have a meeting last week. Should get the minutes. I'll forward those on when I get them. Fairly uneventful meeting. We had several new members a couple new members with new trustees. So pretty straightforward. I think it was like 10 minutes long. Any old business to speak of? I don't know any. Any new business? I would just remind everyone, we still have the plan that in the next section, ordinances and resolutions. If something is of a pressing nature and needs to be considered on the first reading, we usually have that denoted with an asterisk. I would remind everybody that's not to confuse it with the term declaring an emergency. While they may seem the same, like, hey, this is emergency, we got to get it done. Declaring an emergency is a specific language or phrase that is added to legislation. So if and when it is passed, upon the mayor's signature, it immediately goes into effect. If it does not have that language and it's passed, upon the mayor's signature, it goes into effect after 30 days. Also, a little lesser known fact, declaring an emergency to actually be enacted, even if the language is there, it has to pass by 2/3. It can't just be a majority vote. So why that might become important, if something is very pressing, and either we don't have the declaring an emergency language in there, or it happens to pass by less than a 2/3 majority, then it will not go into effect until the mayor signs it. So if there was a need to have it go into effect immediately, we didn't get the job done. So we always try to remember that. Granted, you don't get your packets until Friday. So that's not a lot of time when you see something with an asterisk to figure out, hey, what do I need to know about this? Doris and I talked about the one tonight for a while the other day. Don't ever be afraid to reach out to, and I know she did before she talked to me, she talked with Lynn and Cindy. You can reach out to them. You can reach out to Christy. If you have questions, if it involves finance, hopefully the typical situation on finance will have already seen it. Now, they might not have seen it at their meeting, because it may come up after their meeting, but it will probably have been emailed to them, and there might even have been a conversation with the chair. And then the chair talked to the other two members. But don't be afraid to reach out to whomever you feel the need to learn more about a particular piece of legislation. With that, Bruce, we only have one piece of legislation. As soon as we get through that, I'll come back to you. Okay. So let's go on with our ordinances and resolutions.
Ordinance number 26-002, an ordinance providing for additional appropriations and for transferring funds for the year 2026 for the city of Kenton, Ohio, and declaring an emergency.
And you saw, there's an updated one. It was that, I think Emma passed it around. Christy follows suit of what Pam used to do, and Christy does a great job of, when it's something that's kind of complex, maybe a lot of line items involved, and definitely if we're asking you to look at it tonight, which we are on this one, she'll usually have an explanation sheet like this. So I guess I would lean on you, Christy. You want to kind of talk through this a little bit? Sure. Any place you think you need to?
The police, I have it highlighted in gray. All of that, all three lines run together, and the police department is receiving a grant, and it's in conjunction with the Kenton City Schools. And once and Chief knows what he wants to get, and we've been told the exact amounts now that can be spent. And once he spends those, then the Kenton City, and we submit the receipts to the Kenton City Schools, we then get that money back. I mean, it's a pretty quick turnaround, but we have to, that's why I have it on here first. We have to have the money to spend it, but we'll get it right back. So, Cindy, will you explain the issue too?
Yeah. Do you want me to do the assistant law director salary up there too?
That's true. Yeah.
So that is Andrew Tudor's severance when he quit being the prosecutor. We don't budget severance because we most of the time don't know how much that's going to be, and when they're quitting and things like that. So we don't normally budget for severances. The issue 2 money, we had that in last year's budget. We didn't spend it, so we put it in, and that's why we didn't add it to this year's budget. We ended up cutting it out of last year's in order to get everything to balance, but that is all a loan from OPWC. So again, that's kind of like we're going to get the money back and we'll be paying on it over time. So it's not like $425,000 coming straight out of this year's budget. Wrestler Engineering Services, this is for an EPA finding that we need to come up with a general plan on what we're going to do with our almost 50-year-old water treatment plant. And again, this is a loan, a 0% loan, so it will be money that we will submit to OPWC and get that back and then pay on it over time. The refuge IT support, this is part of the VIP Cloud annual fee and tech setup. Up to this point, we did not store our software solutions information, which is our utility billing, in the cloud. We are going to that. That will save us some money from Chris Griffin, that we pay for IT support with him. And we had money in the other lines except for the trash line, which is doing, the trash line is doing well.
So this 3,400, if I understand what you're saying, it says annual fee, but it's a new thing, or is?
It's new, it's not normally, but every year we will pay this.
So this is new money coming out?
Yes.
Okay.
The whole bill is more than $3,400.
Right.
Yeah,
This is the only line that was short.
Yeah, I got you.
The general fund transfers, these are transfers within the fund. The municipal league dues increased from last year, so we need another $400. We've taken out of council stationery and supplies, which we don't usually spend, so that's a transfer. And then, come to find out, we have another computer that is not compatible with the upgrades for Windows, and that would be the prosecutor's computer. So we're going to transfer from stationary, law director stationaries and supplies to law director new equipment to get a new computer.
Back to page 1 and Andy Tudor's severance, is that sick leave, accumulated sick leave and vacation? What makes up that number?
It'd be vacation, it would be sick leave.
If it was over.
Yeah.
So in our, for lack of a better term, internal procedures, a lot of that comes from, remember the bargaining units, there's, all of that is bargained. The non-bargaining, there's some benefits they get to give some parity. This is my wording. And severance is one of those.
Well, our bargaining guys get severance too.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
The non-bargaining
Yes.
gets some parity.
Right, so we do it for everybody.
We do it for everybody, is what I'm getting at. But there's a lot of times that might not be in the budget. Well, put it this way, unless someone, if we know someone's leaving when we're working on the budget, and that'll happen after the first year, I can think of a couple times where we built in, I think there's a couple times we knew firemen were retired, and we built that in. I'm almost certain that's happened. It's been a while. This one,
And to be fair, this was a tricky one because he's not really leaving.
Right.
So we really didn't know, does he get a severance or does he not? And then come to find out he did.
Okay, all right.
We can go through the calculation with you.
I would like that.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks. I'm not saying Andy shouldn't get the money.
Yeah.
I'm just wanting to understand
Yeah.
what it is.
that's an area where public service is a little different than private when it comes to severance. Other questions on that? So, I mean, I think you guys can get the theme here. There are a few items, small ones, the 3,075, the 1,510, that are actually essentially new additions to the budget. We need more money, there's no offsetting revenue or no offsetting capital borrowing to replace it. The budget is actually, well, all of these is increasing the budget, but there's no revenue to offset it. All the police items there is a grant or revenue that's coming in that will actually make that budget neutral.
And same with the capital improvement issue fund, because we won't pay on them this year. We will get them money
So
back.
for this year,
Yes.
yes. Over the long haul, though, there is, while there's money coming in, a loan, we're
Yes.
going to pay back that loan over
Yes.
the amortization period of the loan. Interest-free, no interest. And that'll be very common. That's what you'll see is we get monetary issues. There'll be some that it's because we got a grant, and I think like all these police, I think that's something, didn't Colt work on that with the chief? And they got that. Brusel, a lot of times, they're really good about getting grants. And so Christie has to make the money available, and then the grant essentially offsets that for your double accounting, double entry accounting. Then you'll have items that it's, no, we didn't budget right. Something came up, we got a repair, we have overtime, whatever it might be. That'll be where we're adding more money to the budget. We've got to bring in more to cover that. You will sometimes have transfers. Well, there are a couple transfers in here. Yeah, the council one. The money's actually there. We're moving from line item to line item.
And I tend to try to do that as much as possible, with just transfers.
So don't ever feel bad about asking questions about things. So due to especially the police departments, actually I think almost everything on here, I don't know about the issue 2 probably needs done pretty quick too, doesn't it?
That one will probably okay on it because we haven't had any bills on that. I know this Wrestler Engineering Service.
Could you just explain also, we do tend to watch grouping things together that don't really match up.
Should I down 2 ordinances?
Well, but I don't know about that because let's say that 425 was, Cindy, why don't you explain why we group a lot of things together? What does it do for us? Doesn't it save money on publication costs?
Yeah, and the reason this one is in here, I mean, you have to, when you publicize it, be each one, you'd have to do each ordinance separately, right? Or we not even put them in the...
We don't pay for advertising anymore.
We just group them together, so, because I didn't want to forget this. We had cut this out of the budget last year, and I needed to get it back in, so I didn't forget about it.
So I think the bigger answer, that solves that then. So it does not, the number of pieces of legislation we have no longer impact, there's no
Correct.
cost.
At one point in time
At
it
one
did.
point in time it did.
Yes.
So here's a promise I can make. Let's say that 425 did not have a loan offsetting it. And then we were saying, hey, we need to add
We would go 3
a
weeks.
substantial, well, not only that, it would be in a separate piece of
Right.
legislation. Does that kind of clear that up a little bit? But in this case, it's something that we've gone through OPWC. We know there's a loan coming. It's interest-free. It'll spread it out over I don't remember if that's a 10 or a 20, several years, a bunch of years. It could be 30 even. So the thought was, well, let's make certain we get it in here and it can be with this. But we don't just necessarily willy-nilly have things that have nothing at all to do with one another. Throw them all in the same one. So as you can see, there's an asterisk on that. Because of several items in here that need to be addressed as soon as possible, we're asking for...
Mr. President, I would move that we suspend the 3 read rule for ordinance number 26-002.
Been moved by Sue to suspend the
second that.
rules. Peg has seconded it. Peg gave a second. There's no discussion on suspending the rules. The reason there's not, there's nothing to discuss. You either want to suspend them or you don't. This would need to pass by a supermajority of at least 6 of you in order for it for us to do that. Let's go ahead and vote.
Sue Fox Broker,
Yes.
Lydia Miller,
Yes.
Cliff Winiger,
Yes.
Chad Miller,
Yes.
Peg Wren,
Yes.
Doris Bloom,
Yes.
Robin Jones.
Yes.
That passes 7-0, so now we can take a motion on...
I make a motion, we adopt ordinance number 26-002.
I'll second.
Moved by Chad, seconded by Cliff. Is there any discussion? Okay.
Lydia Miller,
Yes.
Cliff Winiger,
Yes.
Chad Miller,
Yes.
Peg Wren,
Yes.
Doris Bloom,
Yes.
Robin Jones.
Yes.
Sue Fox Broker.
Yes.
That passes 7-0 also. Thank a lot of times, you guys have already, those of you that have been here, and even 2 weeks ago, you caught on. I mean, I'll ask, or when Emma reads, or especially on monetary issues, Christie goes over them, or finance talks about them. A lot of times, some of the discussion will happen even before the motion is moved, and I get that. I'm kind of comfortable with that, if you all are. We don't want to, I always like you guys to feel welcome to discuss, but I'm also always going to ask for discussion again. I'm going to give you an opportunity to discuss, but I'll kind of take a quick look around, and so does Emma. If nobody speaks up pretty quick, we're going to vote. So. Okay, nothing on second reading, nothing on third. Any other matters we ought to chat about tonight? Comments from the public? Bruce, got anything you want to talk about?
Just want to thank the street guys for helping us keep the things clear around the station. Glad we didn't have to do the city, township, or county properties to get anywhere near this one, so.
Anybody else, public, want to talk? All right, news media. Thanks for being here, Tim. Sorry about that. I'm certain you were chomping a bit to be here when we met. Okay. Comments from council members, administration. Brad, anything you got to add?
I think everything's going well.
All right, Christie, anything you want to add? Bruce, I could ask you again. Okay. Go ahead.
I just want to thank again the workers for all the work they've done around town. I think they did a fabulous job, and I appreciate them running over. I was trying to get a big hump in the middle of that east-west alley and on the north side of the Elks, and I was trying to do it by hand and about wore myself out. So they came over and ran a path down the middle. That was a huge help. Huge help. Thank them for it, please.
Go ahead.
Oh, I just was going to say they even did a really great job already on the side streets, and especially in the second ward. I did bring to attention some people who didn't move trailers before and that always causes a problem. Lucky we don't, our street isn't filled with, parking. So I think, but the city's really worked hard with the neighbors that they moved, and it, so there was no big issues, and I really thank them for doing it.
No, just, the city crew did a good job. They did. Kept the streets going.
I would echo that, just from the onset, I know Mayor made reference that they were out the night of the storm and getting ahead of it. It was very evident the next day for the volume of snow that we received, to be able to just come out the next morning and see the main roads cleared. Public Works Department done a tremendous job. They continue to do a tremendous job. It's obviously 20 below or whatever outside in the wind. These guys are just phenomenal. They're out messing in water that, it just takes a special kind of person, I think, to kind of be committed to their city, and we are very blessed to have that in our community, so.
I'll echo what everybody else has said. We haven't had that much snow piled that high in several years, so there's some people that's not very patient because we haven't had that much snow. So, but I think they did a tremendous job, and I thank them for that.
I too want to thank them and commend the crew for what they did, and the street crew, or the city water crew, was out 2 blocks north of me all day. They were there when we got up this morning. They were there when I left to come in, and they're working out in the frigid weather and getting it done.
Thank you to the city crew. I'm sure Lynn and Cindy have spent a lot of time out too with them. That's because that's what they do, to make sure everything's going how it needs to go, and to make sure that the city crew has what they need. I'd also like to recognize that Antwilla Davis, who used to sit on council's husband, is in the hospital. She had an update about him on the computer today. So if we can keep that family in our prayers. Ann Twilla was on council, 4 years, maybe 6. So keep them in your prayers.
I just want to hit a couple more things. One, don't forget, March 19th, State of the City, we're going to keep it 6:30, right? At the new school at the Performing Arts Center. Also, I think it's Ann who started Snowbusters.
Yes.
If you look on Facebook, she started the Snowbusters group, and it's, again, it's Emma's favorite word, and I love it too, it's collaboration. So it's basically, she puts it out there, people who need driveways shoveled, plowed, anything, whether it's in the county, in the city, and then people who have those services can then jump in and reach out to those people on private message. And I'm telling you, again, what a great community we live in to see people wanting to help each other out. That's how we make it happen around here. You know, we give the guys a lot of credit, which they deserve. They have a servant's heart. They all run hand in hand with police and fire. They all count on each other, and they're there for each other whenever they need it. But I'm telling you, too, like you guys said, it's not Cindy and I, but it's Emma. I call her any hour of the night. I need something posted. She's posting from home. We're talking to Whitney. Everybody up here is involved. And it's just, there's an incredible serving team, and you guys are part of it. We couldn't plow these streets like we did if we didn't have the yeses a while ago to get new dump trucks and plows and pickup trucks that can push this stuff. So again, it's everybody. It's a great collaboration. You know, it's an honor to be able to serve alongside of y'all.
Just, I would say on these comments, just so you all know, don't ever feel like you have to comment. So if I look at you like, oh, I better say something, I'm sorry, that's not what I'm trying to do. I always want to give you a chance. So, I'm glad you brought up both Robin and then you did also Lynn, but don't forget yourself. These three do an awful lot. Christy was here coming in from Mount Victory in crappy weather. Whitney too, yep. So, yeah, they were very hard and trying to support all these folks. We don't want to forget that. And it does happen in other towns. One of the branches that I oversee is Mount Gilead. Mount Gilead in the middle of this had multiple water main breaks, right in the middle of all this. So they were trying to do, I want to say it's 4 or 5 main breaks.
They lost their tower.
They lost their tower.
Wow.
Wow.
Which just means it emptied.
Yeah, it takes forever to fill back up.
Forever to fill, and then you've got all kinds of issues with boil. So it does happen. So just keep that in mind. So far, it's only January, the end of January though, but so far I can't believe how well you guys got through this. All right, we've got a lot of dates here. I don't think I've ever been in a council meeting where there are that many dates thrown out. That's awesome. And the conversation, when I walked in the room, you guys were all talking about things, that's great. It's what we want. So our next meeting for council, Monday, February 9th. And then you saw we've got a meeting right before that for legislation. And finance will meet before the meeting after that. You saw all the other committee meetings. So, and then finally, a reminder, March 19th, 6:30, State of the City. 6:30? Okay. If there are no objections, before I adjourn, one reminder, if those of you who were on council before this year, hang on a minute, I've got your W-2s next door. Thankfully, Emma reminded me. We're adjourned.